Ready? Ready? Good day, mate. Yeah, so I'm not just doing that randomly, it actually has something to do with the book that I'm reviewing today, and that is Bill Bryson's In a Sunburned Country. This is actually the second Bill Bryson book that I read. I read A Walk in the Woods about this time last year, more or less, and I freaking loved it. So I was like, I gotta get my hands on some more Bill Bryson books, and this was the one that appealed to me the most. Ordered it over the summer, finally picked it up now to read, and it's quite enjoyable, let me just say that. As you might have guessed, it's about Australia, and Bill Bryson tends to write non-fiction, and so this is a non-fiction account of his travels in Australia, some of the history, the quirks, just the landscape of Australia, what makes it up, why he loves it so much. And you follow his journey starting on the East Coast. He goes, into the deserts, up north, down south, and he eventually makes it all the way to Perth on the other side of the country. But in between, he tells stories of his experiences there, the people he runs into. Also gives you a lot of background history. I feel like a lot of us from Europe and North America sort of kind of forget that Australia is there in the sense that they have their own history, their own politics, and we sort of forget that they're there other than the fact that, there are people living there and, some of those YouTubers on here are from Australia, but we forget that they have such an elaborate history and the fact that the continent that they're on is huge and there's a lot of weird stuff on it, and so that gets covered a lot in this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I read this quite quickly considering it's a little over 300 pages and the font is really, really tiny. That's because I absolutely love Bill Bryson's writing style. He can be very self-deprecating sometimes, but he just makes all these situations sound so interesting. I feel like I could never write my life the way he writes it, because no one would ever be as interested in what I have to say compared to how he puts it. Even just the way he described Uluru, or Ayers Rock as some of you might know it as, it was just, it just made me so happy, and it makes me want to go to Australia so badly. Besides the fact that I'm kind of eyeing Australia and New Zealand as the next big thing. Now that I've been to Europe, I mean, I didn't get everywhere in Europe, but I really want to go to Australia and New Zealand now. Part of the reason why I picked this up, and I think part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much, because everything I read, I was just like, this is amazing, it's so funny and hilarious, and look at, there's all these weird creatures, and just the desert. I don't live anywhere near a desert. The desert fascinates me. So hearing him talk about driving hundreds and hundreds of kilometers with barely a person in sight, barely ever passing another car, it blows my mind. I also enjoyed the historical aspect of it. I liked hearing the history, the quirky politics, Parliament in Australia, and how he barely understands it himself, and he doesn't, making jokes about how funny it is, and just the news that comes out of Australia that we never hear because we are so far away from it, and just, it's Australia. It's a nice little place down in the corner of the earth. He also does address some more serious issues, especially related to the treatment and history surrounding Aboriginals in Australia. I mean, it's gotten better recently, but he was just saying from an outsider's perspective and sort of occasionally bringing it up with Australians just to kind of see what their perspective on it was, and how they sort of, oh yeah, it's just bad, but they didn't really have anything past the fact that they recognized that it was a horrible thing that happened. And that there's a somber part of it too, but it's mostly just a hilarious, awesome look at Australia in general. As you can probably tell, I absolutely loved this book. 5 out of 5 stars for sure. Awesome nonfiction read. If you're looking for something fun and, on the thicker side, pretty kind of dense, but also really easy to read at the same time, then you can definitely pick this up if you're looking for something on Australia. I think even Australians would get a kick out of it, just seeing their country from an outsider's perspective. I feel like that would be pretty entertaining. And also if you want a little history too, just to know more about the country in general, you definitely have this in this book as well. So if you guys have read this book, let me know. Also, if you've read Bill Bryson books, which one's your favorite? Did you like this one the most? Maybe Walk in the Woods, maybe another one of his publications? Let me know which one you think I should read next, because I am ready to pick up another Bill Bryson book ASAP. As always, we have our links down below in the doobly-doo. We got our Twitter, and you can friend us on Goodreads, or if you feel like browsing the book depository, then you can click through our link as well. We always appreciate that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.